Mike's Daily Podcast.
Bonjour, bonjour. Hello, hello. Welcome to the show that's called
Mike's Daily Podcast.
I am Mike Matthews. This is my podcast, and it's episode 2452, 2452. Oh, it is not with an O, no, but it's wonderful that we get this holiday off. For some of us anyway, 4th of July.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Don't cry if you don't get 4th of July off, or if this is something you're listening to and you're way off in the future.
Mike's
4th of July is past.
Daily
It's one of those
Podcast.
It's one of those holidays that it's interesting how it's controversial now. Once upon a time, you would say, "Oh, 4th of July, woohoo! Barbecue, parade, flags, remembering those who have fallen." Oh wait, that's more Memorial Day. But, you know, Veterans Day, maybe? But just remembering our freedoms. Because we told England, get out of here. And we were not friends with England. We was mad at England. England was a bad, bad country. Taking away our freedoms. And it's so weird because you think England? That's like us, but with interesting accents. But we don't have accents. You got an accent. Okay, whatever. Cafe anyway. Somewhere in Podcaster Valleyton, the last place on earth. I have never been to. Actually, I was in England once as a small child. My mom wanted to. She was from Germany. My late great mom. She stopped over in England on our way to Germany. Either we stopped there on the way to Germany or coming back, but I just remember not really seeing England. Not seeing it. So,
and here's today's podcast picture.
I am a huge fan of just about everything on BritBox and BBC and ITV and Sky TV and everything else out of England. But I have to say that at one time, as a true-blooded, red-blooded American, I guess at one point in our history, we really detested the British. So, that's a fascinating thing, but now we're all friends, right? We're from the States, we're Yanks. They portray us horribly on their television shows. It's true. The late, great Basil the Boxer. And that's a very British name, Basil. Yes, he did. And that was inspired by Austin Powers and the Michael York character. I love British actors. If I meet anybody, ever, any British actor, if I go to England and run into a British actor, I'm going to freak out. I'm just utterly transfixed by British actors. And I'll be watching something, most of Game of Thrones, Harry Potter, they were all actors that if you watched Doctor Who or any BBC shows, you would go, oh yeah, that's so-and-so. That's what's their name. But yeah, we kicked them out of here. It was not a lot of bloodshed. It was a lot of bloodshed. It was not easy. It was not pretty. And that's 4th of July. But hey, if you're American, despite everything that you may dislike about America, you gotta love one thing, and that is our freedom. Oh, but Mike, so many of my rights have been taken away. And okay, but right now you are pretty much free to stop listening to this podcast, go over there and turn on the Kate Bush song. Kate Bush? Now that would be an interesting name for an art. Is there a music artist named Kate Bush? But Kate Bush, on the other hand, Running Up That Hill, huge song right now because of Stranger Things. And I've been talking about that a lot lately, but it's been in my mind a lot lately. And I'm wondering, so that song came out in 85. Here we are in 2022. 8522, that is, let's see how you got to do the math. You got to jump over a millennium, and then you end up with, let's see, so that was carry the 1, multiply by 3. Oh, shoot. Something like 40 something, right? So that, right? The millennial, right? But in essence, what is going to be a song out now that is going to be popular 40 years from now? Just round it down, 40 years. Ava Max, Sweet But Psycho. Oh, this sweet but I'm psycho. Dua Lipa, Break My Heart. Or any other Dua Lipa song. Sia, I'm unstoppable today. Who from now is going to be popular? Lil Nas X? Something from Beyonce? I don't know. The Weeknd is that song. Save Your Tears, or the other one, or Harry Styles, As It Was. Same as it was. Is that going to be popular 40 years from now? Is that going to suddenly make a resurgence? I will be very, very shocked. Well, if I'm alive, I'll be very, very shocked to see that it is. But or maybe Camila Cabello with Ed Sheeran singing Bam Bam Bomb Bomb. I mean, or Kid Laroi. If Kid Laroi, I would be... So Kid Laroi, 40 years from now, 40 years hence, will be remembered. We'll be like, hey, oh, listen to that cool Kid Laroi jam. The Justin Bieber or the Miley Cyrus one, or whoever else he ends up singing with. Is that going to be popular in the future? Tell me! Or is Lizzo? Lizzo, definitely. She'll be popular 40 years from now, I'm sure. But what do you think? 336MM Daily, 3 plus 3 equals 6. MM as in Mike Matthews, Daily as in what this podcast has gotten into doing again. Getting a little bit further and further away from a project. I'm not saying the project is completed, but oh, it's a lot more completed than it was. Same as it was. Same as it ever was. No, not that song. Talking Heads. Is it how do you say his name? Zhu Guanyu? Formula One driver. I'm not up on my Formula One info, but that driver would likely not be alive today if it weren't for the partially closed titanium device that formed a protective layer around the cockpit of his race car. The driver credited the protection device known as a halo for saving his life after a horrific crash during the first lap of the British Grand Prix yesterday as we go outside of Cafe Anyway somewhere in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth. Speaking of Great Britain, I'm okay, all clear. Halo saved me today. Zhu tweeted Sunday with a selfie. Thanks everyone for your kind messages. One of several drivers involved in the turn one crash, which saw his Alfa Romeo flipping over and skidding across the track before crashing into the fencing. One thing I've learned from watching so much British TV, so many British shows, they always seem to have an episode having to do with car racing. They love the car racing, it seems. The halo, which forms partial protection around the cockpit, prevented Zhu from sustaining serious injuries. He ended up wedged between the tire barrier and catch fencing, which is there to protect fans. The awkward nature of the car's placement meant it took some time to extract him. The George Russell, who made contact with Zhu during the collision, immediately got out of his car once it had come to a stop and ran over to check on Zhu. The rookie, who was the first Chinese driver in F1, was eventually pictured being stretchered away by emergency medical personnel and was later given the all clear after being assessed at the medical center. The Halo was introduced in 2018 and initially was resisted by some drivers, though several have since credited it with saving their lives. The concept leaked in 2015 following the death of IndyCar driver Justin Wilson during a race when his head was struck by debris. A number of F1 and IndyCar drivers have died in similar incidents. It was designed, the Halo, originally by Mercedes-Benz Motorsports, but the FIA took over the development process and began a round of testing in the fall. Other designs were tested, including a similar proposal from the Red Bull racing team. The Halo, originally designed by Mercedes-Benz Motorsports. And speaking of racing, a boy helped put a new spin on the Let's Go Brandon chant, which a lot of you may know what that means. When I was in Daytona Beach, I realized everybody knows what that means. But if you don't, look it up. Brandon Brown wanted a way to change the narrative behind the Let's Go Brandon message after his first NASCAR victory inadvertently fostered a chant that has been used to insult President Joe Biden. Brandon found that new message thanks to a family of an 8-year-old boy with autism. Now, Brandon Brundage of Cottage Grove, Minnesota was, oh, by the way, that last story from MSN.com, and then this story from MSN.com, and an article from AP, the AP. Brandon Brundage from Minnesota was on a spring break trip to Houston in March and saw signs with the Let's Go Brandon phrase. He believed the signs were meant to encourage him. That has got to make you feel bad if you've ever worn a Let's Go Brandon shirt. He consequently started trying activities he'd never attempted before, such as learning to swim. And he removed the training wheels from his bicycle. His mother, Chely Brundage, used that story to write a children's book entitled Brandon Spots His Sign. Now, Brandon Brown had the cover of Brundage book on the hood of his Camaro for his Xfinity Series race at Road America this past weekend on Saturday. To have this come through was like that breakthrough moment for us, Brandon Brown said. This can be positive, this can be good. It doesn't have to be hateful or divisive. The Crown at Talladega Superspeedway in Alabama, if you ain't first, you're last, chanted the more colorful way of saying what they don't like about Biden. During the winner's post-race interview, NBC Sports reporter Kelly Stavast incorrectly told Brown the fans were chanting, "Let's go Brandon." That happened last October during Brandon's first career NASCAR victory. From that point on, it's been a hateful way for people who are critics of Biden to say that they don't like Biden. And Brandon Brown unintentionally found himself in the middle of the firestorm that surrounded these chants. He says, "I've just been hopeful that I could make it a positive. I could have my name back and not have it be so divisive and scary, where it wouldn't be a political statement for my friends and family to cheer me on during a race." You know, the hypocrisy behind that chant. And I see people wear that shirt, and then the same people turn around and they criticize people that actually use profanity when they themselves are using profanity on their shirt. It is implying profanity. Chely Brundage, the mom of Brandon Brundage, said, "I am sorry for what you went through all of this past year," she said to Brandon Brown. "I know it's been horrible, but I'm so glad it happened because this child would not have this breakthrough. He still would be afraid to ride his bike without training wheels. He's literally walking up to kids and passing out this book. He would never have done that before." Outside of Cafe Anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth, look who's here. Hello, Michael Masters, Madame Rootabega, and I like to race. Ooh. You like to race all kinds of cars, and you like to set off fireworks?
Yes.
And you like to eat that weird American salad, the one that's got heaps and loads of mayonnaise and strawberries and I think ham?
Yes.
And you also like to eat bread?
No.
Yeah. What is that salad, that July 4th salad? I'm going to look it up. I'm going to look this up, everybody. Let's see. We've got the 4th of July fluff salad. Is that it? No. Oh, that's it. The Jell-O salad. That's what I'm thinking of. The easy layered 4th of July Jell-O salad. There's all kinds of crazy layered Jell-O salads. Wow. I love that about America. Ain't that America to you and me? Oh, good old John Mellencamp. When he finds out a Republican wants to use that song, he's like, wait a minute now. You know what the words are. You know what that song is really about, right? I wrote that when I was not happy with Reagan. Look who else is here.
Hello there, Mike. This is Valentino, the parenting attention.
And this is Bison Bentley.
Mike, we think that Harry Styles will be just as popular 40 years from now as he is today.
Yeah, he'll be in his 60s and he'll have a hit song. Yeah. Do that? I did not know that. Wow. Madame Rootabega, is that true? Because you can see into the future.
Yes, it's true. Also, Zohan will be a big movie.
No, it won't. It will not make a resurgence. Don't mess with the Zohan. I watched that last night with my lovely lady friend. She had never seen it. And she said to me, rather calmly, this movie has not aged well. It came out in 2008. And the leading actress in that, the romantic interest of Zohan, played by Adam Sandler, she is now in that Superman and Lois TV show. But Adam Sandler, he plays some kind of... He fights terrorists. He's like a soldier with the Israeli military, I think. And then you've got John Turturro, who's some Palestinian soldier guy. They fight. It's very out there, and it's just not to be taken seriously. But you've got Rob Schneider, the father of Elle King, X's and O's, and that... Oh, she had a big hit with that song with Miranda Lambert, the I'm drunk and I don't want to go home. I think that song. But Rob, her dad, is in brownface. Yes. That's kind of bizarre. This movie has... Plus just the way it treats women overall. Older women, younger women, everybody gets... Wow. Women not... They're just these objects. Not very cool, Adam Sandler. However, my lovely lady friend did laugh at a lot of scenes. But he was in a particular... You know, he was very popular. And he's still popular. But now all of his stuff is on Netflix. But, you know, he tried to do the serious thing. His stuff is definitely toned down, don't you think? I don't know. What do you think? 336MM Daily. 3 + 3 = 6. MM is the Mike Matthews. Daily isn't what this podcast is. There's other ways to reach me as well. We will hear from A-Frame about that in a moment. But also, we will also hear from the wonderful Chely Shoehart, Floyd the Floorman, and John Deere the Engineer next show. By the way, I did originally see that Zohan movie in a theater in Huntsville, Alabama. I was married when it came out. My then wife was a hairstylist, and we had all these hairstylist friends. So I went to see that movie with a bunch of hairstylists. And in the movie, Zohan, who is also he's this like super soldier, he really, really wants to cut hair. And he's completely hooked on a book that he got 20 years earlier, which at that point was the 80s. A book from Paul Mitchell. and he wants to cut hair and make it look like 80s fashion. But at this point, it's 2008, so people are like, wait, these fashions don't work. But older ladies like the fashion that he's using, and he wants the silky smooth hair. The movie has a lot of early 90s music, so that's bizarre. It's a movie kind of trapped in the 80s, but then it has this early 90s thing. You hear Color Me Bad, Ace of Base, early 90s bands and groups and singers and pop. Oh, Mariah Carey shows up in this movie. Yes, Mariah Carey. They're all big fans of hers. Very bizarre. Oh, and Dave Matthews. Dave Matthews is a villain, is a redneck crazy guy. Kind of a domestic terrorist type. So, yes. Why? Why? I guess why? Chicken thigh. Maybe have a barbecue chicken thigh today or not. Go vegetarian. Have some squash. But I do hope you enjoy your day, whatever day it is. Maybe it's way past 4th of July and you're listening to this. Thank you for listening. Oh, I didn't say what the podcast picture was. It is going to be of something from this date, but a year, maybe 2 years, maybe heck, we might go 10 years back. Who knows? But see that picture now at mikesdailypodcast.com. Okay, now if you will.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com.
Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com.
See you tomorrow. Bye!